Hey y'all, it's Matt and Meghan, the traveling Texans. Today we're going to talk a little bit about like what we've learned in just like the first week or so. It's been a little over a week since we left the US and we are now in Ao Nang, Thailand. So since then we've had 7 flights. We've had 2 hotels and 1 Airbnb.
And one stay at a resort.
Right, that's the 2 hotels.
Those are
Yeah.
okay, sorry.
So we're just gonna talk a little bit about that. Like from the start, I guess we've had 7 flights total. We've had 5 flights since we left the U.S. Leaving the U.S. So we're on the back porch of our Airbnb right now.
Is that a rat?
No, I think it's just a bird.
Okay.
We've got all kinds of excuse me, all kinds of wildlife around here, which is cool. We have a lot of birds. I've seen a couple of squirrels, lizards, no monkeys or anything here, but we've seen them elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we flew from New York to Chicago, Chicago to Tokyo, Tokyo to Jakarta, and then we were in Jakarta for 4 nights in a hotel. Not the most fun part of the trip. And then we flew from Jakarta to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and then to Ao Nang. So that was all one. That was only about 5.5 hours of travel time right there, so that wasn't too bad. But one thing that we learned is snacks. Plenty of snacks, because
More snacks than you think that you need.
yeah,
So you pack the amount of snacks that you think you need, and then you just double that amount of snacks, and that's how many snacks you actually need.
yeah, because these kids have 2 stomachs. They have the meal stomach and the snack stomach. The meal stomach is like this big, and the snack stomach's like this big. So lots of snacks. I mean, you could even do away with the freaking toys as long as you have snacks.
Yeah, we got stuck with no snacks a couple times, and then on the airplane sometimes the kids would sleep through the meal time, so they wouldn't have a meal, and so just more snacks.
Yeah,
Any snacks really. I mean, they've been open to anything. So
True.
cereal's been easy because you can eat it with or without milk. It can be a snack or a meal. So we've gotten a couple things of cereal.
yeah,
So
yeah. And one thing that kind of surprised us was the kids travel well. I mean, everybody's like, oh yeah, do it while they're young, and they travel well, but they actually do. They didn't mind flying. They weren't scared of it or anything. The only time I even saw anything once was when we were leaving Chicago. We flew business class, and so I'm over here, and then it's Meghan, Ryan, and Christy. 3 seats next to each other, and
Heidi kind of floated around.
and I saw Ryan's little hand just kind of like shoot up, and then Meghan went to hold it. So he wanted somebody to hold his hand, and that was his 4th flight. But so he got a little bit scared. He didn't say anything, and he'll even tell you he told me before when we were watching a movie or something, he'll want to hold my hand. He's like, I just want to hold your hand because I love you, Dad. And I'm like, okay, not because you're scared of the Hulk or anything, but no, they did pretty good. None of us slept awesome on the flights because you had to wear the masks. So we didn't have to wear any masks when we're flying within the U.S., but once we left Chicago, we were on Japan Airlines, and you had to wear a mask all the time unless you were eating or drinking. That was not fun. Even when you're sleeping, I fell asleep. I finally fell asleep, and then the flight attendant woke me up to tell me to put my mask on. I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the mask part. I just didn't sleep well because by the time you get everybody else asleep, then it's time for I felt like it was time for either a meal or it was time for somebody to start waking up. And then
Yeah.
Heidi, I could only get her to sleep well laying flat, and so that was in my chair, so I could kind of scoot next to her. But it wasn't the same as if I was laying flat. But that's okay. They slept good. They traveled fine. They didn't seem to mind being on an airplane. It was really just the waiting. It was the waiting to get onto the plane, the waiting in the terminal waiting, you know, to get on the shuttle. That's always the hardest part. So that's when the snacks came in handy.
Yeah, they would get restless, and Ryan just these days gets impatient. Everything takes too long for him. It takes too long. So, yeah, that was the harder part. Just waiting to get on everything,
Yeah.
and then we were like ready to board in Jakarta, and we had like priority boarding, and then Ryan's like, I gotta pee, so said to run and take him to the bathroom, but he's done good with that. So, but yeah, the kids flew well, so that was good. We were very, you know, relieved and pleased to hear that in order to, you know, experience that. So it took a little bit once we got to Jakarta because it was like a 14-hour time difference from like Texas, from Central Time. So it took them a little while to get adjusted to the time. It took us a little while. We didn't start sleeping great until like, I don't know, a few nights ago, or sleeping better at least.
Mhm.
We were getting like 6-7 hours of sleep a night. But I think we're finally fully adjusted to the time. And I mean, Meghan and I have been here before. I've flown overseas before, but each one of those times we were able to sleep like 6 or 7 hours during the flight. So, I mean, because, I mean, just Chicago to Tokyo was 13 hours. So, so yeah, so we were able to sleep and it wasn't so hard, but this one, being up for most of the time and only sleeping for maybe a couple of hours during that whole time was rough. So we're finally adjusted to the time.
Yep.
The kids are really enjoying it over here, but I don't know what else.
Yeah, I mean, I think we learned to, you know, we're thankful that Christy's here with us. Having 2 kids and 3 adults has been a huge help
Oh my gosh, yeah.
with everything. I mean, every transition, getting on and off the airplane, on and off the shuttle, on and off the boat, on and off anything. It's like one person can get a kid, one person can be handling the luggage and paying or coordinating directions, and then the other person can be getting the stuff. I don't know if we have it down pat yet, but you know,
Yeah.
having 3 has been, I mean, a necessity at this point. I don't think I could have done it with just Matt. I don't think the 2 of us could have done all of this as easily.
No.
You know, just, yeah, we're getting our groove, but that's been hard. And then the stroller, if we bring the stroller, which is necessary in some spots because there's a lot of walking, but you know, they don't really have strollers where we're at right now, so there's not sidewalks and there's not cars and things that accommodate strollers. So luckily ours folds up small and we can get it in, but they all kind of look at us weird when we give them our stroller to put in the back of the van or in the back of the whatever it is on the, you know.
Yeah, but
So
I don't really care.
no, they think, they just wave at us and laugh when we're walking down the street to get our drinks and our breakfast. You know, everyone carries their kids here, but we've never carried our kids, definitely not 2 at a time,
Yeah.
on pouches or whatever. So they're used to the stroller and it works for us, but there are not a lot of strollers where we're at right now. So it's
Yeah.
comical.
Yeah. But it came in handy, so.
Yeah.
It's a lot to lug around, especially, well, it's a lot to lug around whenever we're putting it in a van or gate checking it. That's the only time it really becomes a hindrance,
Right.
because you have to get a tag to gate check it, and then you have to wait for it to come out, and they'll give it to you at the gate if you want. So,
And then we
but-
chose to put it in a bag.
yeah, we put it in a bag to kind of, so it doesn't get beat up as much. So that's about the only time, and it's not, I don't know, it's not horrible,
No.
but that's really the only downside of having the stroller is just it's bulky, and, you know, we just had to make sure that we're able to get, you know, because we use a rideshare thing called Grab while we're here, and it's really cheap. Like, if we had a Grab car, it would be less than $2. No, it'd be about $2, $2.50, something like that for a ride. But even like we grab a van, so we'll get a Grab van or an SUV, and I think it's under $5 for one way.
Yeah,
which
just to
is-
go into town. We're not going far.
Yeah, but if we need the stroller, you know, we can pack the stroller in there, and there's plenty of room. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's see, time, stroller,
I think,
snacks.
yeah, we've learned, like, we just learned our town, you know, and we've learned that some things are harder to come by. Sunscreen is one of them, so we pretty much are out of sunscreen, but we have more coming. They don't really sell that a lot here, and they don't sell the spray kind that, you know, the kids are used to. But everything
Yeah.
else we've pretty much been able to find. Diapers were a little hard at first.
Yeah.
We didn't have a lot of diaper options when we were in Jakarta. We were down to 2 diapers, but we did find some.
And the diaper sizes were different.
Yeah, diaper sizes were different, and then I think the only ones we've been able to find are all like pull-ups. There's no tabs, you know, but luckily Heidi's fine with the pull-up style, and we found them. So some things, you know, we said, well, they'll have it there, you know, don't bring it. But sunscreen, if you have an extra spot and you're traveling the world, just pack a little extra sunscreen, because we're outside literally every day. So
We'll be able to find it. It's just more expensive. I thought Christy had some. Found some.
we found a small tube of the lotion kind.
Okay.
It was like, I don't know how much.
I think it's like $15.
Yeah.
It's not cheap here.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, the other thing too is you're not going to be able to, because most of the time that we're at places, it's going to be, you know, places like this where there's a lot of sun. So we're not going to be able to bring a lot of
right.
sunscreen for a year.
Oh no, not for
But-
a year. But we'll just, you know, I know I left some in Texas that I probably could have just thrown in my bag, you know, 1 or 2, but we didn't know.
Yeah.
Some things are different. You know, we knew that coffee's different. We have a little kettle. We don't have like a coffee pot with like roasted beans.
But isn't the coffee like all in one packet? I'm not
Yeah.
that much of a coffee drinker. I like some sweet stuff, like coffee every now and then, like a mocha or whatever. I like it iced, but
Christy and I just bought what was already here when we got to the Airbnb, and it was just a kettle that you heat your water in, and then you mix in these little packets. It's called a 3-in-1. So it has like the coffee, the creamer, and the sugar. I think that's the 3. Coffee cream sugar or coffee cream flavor. I don't know what it is. It's okay.
is it a powder, like an instant
Yeah, it's
coffee?
like an instant powder coffee.
Okay.
I bought roasted beans, or I brought coffee at the store because they do have it, but we don't have a coffee pot here, and that's okay. So I mean, we've found things that are familiar. We've tried new things.
Mhm.
Christy's
Yeah.
really good about going out on adventures and finding all of the things, and then she just comes back to the house and says, okay, well, this place has this, and this place has this, and this place has this, and she just goes and checks them out for us, and then we just go and follow her.
Yeah, and the kids have been doing good. It's not like, I mean, we found one place that has chicken nuggets and french fries. Like there was a grocery store that we went to, but we didn't buy any. Because Ryan loves chicken nuggets and french fries, and that's like,
Yeah.
that's 50% of the food that he ate whenever he was home. And we're not always going to have chicken nuggets and french fries. So we didn't buy any. Like, I think Christy even pointed out, oh, look, they have this. I'm like, yeah, we're not getting that. But he's been good. Like, Ryan was kind of a picky eater, but I prepped him. We started to prep him before we left, like at least a month or so. And we told him, like, look, they're not always going to have, you know, chicken nuggets, french fries, and squishy beans. He loves refried beans, from the meaty and the beans from H-E-B. We're not sponsored by H-E-B, but I mean, that's some of his favorite foods. So we told him they're not always going to have that, so you need to try new things. And he would. We told him he has to try at least one bite. But if you have just adamant about it and he refuses, then I'm not going to force it. But like 90% of the time, he tries one bite, and if he likes it, he likes it, and if he
Yeah.
doesn't, he doesn't. Sometimes he likes it, but he doesn't want any more. You know, I tell him, here you go, and he like, that's good. And he'll give a thumbs up. Well, you want some more? He's like, no, thank you.
Yeah, but he tried it.
Yeah, but he's trying it, and so he's trying the different foods, and that's good. Fly this kid halfway around the world to try new foods, which he has been, and he gets chicken nuggets and french fries at the night market. Crazy. Heidi, don't worry about it. She'll eat whatever's in front of her, unless usually it's green. But even some green stuff she'll eat. But she'll eat just about anything you hand her, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, the foods have been good. Bring some Imodium tablets, because
Yeah, and my stomach just was unsettled for about a week. It took about a week.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I ate the same things that they were eating, and we ate at the same places, but I think I was just more sensitive or something. I don't know, but I didn't feel good for about 7 days, off and on. I mean, it wasn't constant,
But it was just here, right? It wasn't in Jakarta.
yeah, it was just the first day we got here. We must have, I don't know, ate or drank something.
Yeah.
I think we just learned to be adaptable and get used to stuff. I mean, here we don't have hot water in the kitchen, so when we wash dishes, we boil the water in the kettle, and then we fill up the sink and wash the dishes. So, we just had to get our routine down for that. There's no dryer, so we have a washing machine but no dryer. So, when we wash our clothes, we need to allow enough time for drying, and we have little drying racks in our bedroom, and then there's one outside. But, we can't wait till we get down to the last, set of pajamas, because
Yeah.
sometimes it takes, 5 or 6 hours to dry our clothes. So I think, we just learned to be adaptable, and it seems like now after a week, it's like, okay, we got this down now, we figured it out. What else has been different here?
It helps to know some of the language. You don't have to know a lot, but at least the greetings and things like that, because they're going to appreciate that here. We've been here before. Like the first time that I came here in 2016, I didn't know any, and that was, whatever. We came here in 18 for our honeymoon, and we learned a couple of the greetings and whatnot.
Yeah, we learned how to say hello and thank you.
Yeah. And then I learned a couple of things regarding ordering food that have come in handy. And when I say it, you can tell that they're pleasantly surprised. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, you know. So, I got the Pad Krap Pao guy, and so that's, Pad Krap Pao with chicken. And they asked me, do you want spicy? And I said, Pet Ma, which means extra spicy. If Meghan didn't want spicy, it's like my pet, so they know that, and they appreciate it. But even like the greetings and knowing what to say and how to say it, because there's certain things, like a certain way a male says it and a certain way a female says it. So if it's a greeting, I would say Sawidi Krab, and then Meghan would say
Sawadi ka.
Ka. So, and it's just about anything that you say at the end of it, a female would say Ka at the end, and a male would say Krab or Kap. So just knowing that goes a long way, and the locals, they appreciate that. So
Yeah, and the kids have picked up probably just those 2 words, 'cause they always say that when we go into the stores,
yeah,
every time we come in, they say Sawadi ka.
yeah. And then when you're telling them you're leaving, or to say thank you, it's Kapkum Krab for me, and then
Kapkum ka.
yeah, for her. So it doesn't matter who you're talking to. If I'm talking to a woman or a man, it's always Krab for me, and then Ka for it's the person who's speaking. And then just learning a few things, like I learned the difference between chicken, pork, and beef, and I think veggies also. If you want extra spicy or no spice, then because a lot of the things will be spicy. So if you don't want it spicy, they'll make it not spicy for you.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're stomach sensitive at the time. So, but yeah, and then just using different apps. I mean, there's different apps that have really come in handy. I use a converter called Global Convert, and that I've used for a long time, but it stays up to date of what the exchange rate is. So
Yeah, that's been helpful.
yeah,
Especially because we were in Indonesia, so we were dealing with one type of currency,
Yeah.
and then we came to Thailand and we had another type. So, I mean, we just had to know what was a good deal or not a good deal, or how much
Yeah.
things were costing.
right. But yeah, the Global Converters come in handy. Google Translate for sure.
Yeah.
And more of the camera part, because we can open up the camera on Google
Yeah.
Translate and hold it over a label and then see what it is. It's not always precise.
Yeah.
I guess maybe the angle you're holding it at or something, it might look a little bit different. But if you just keep messing around with it and moving it, then at least then you can see what you're.
Yeah, different
'Cause I
flavors.
don't speak Thai. I don't read it.
Yeah, that's how we could see what different flavors or what type of milk we were buying.
Mm-hmm.
If it was, you know, butter or butter flavoring, you know, we found the real butter.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful, the camera. And signs, too. You can hold up to signs.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I went to the little shopping center at the end of our road, and Christy said there was a beauty shop there, and I couldn't figure out which one was the pharmacy, or there was pharmacy, a beauty shop, and then like two other shops, a clothing one, but I just held the little thing up to the sign and it'll tell you what it is in English. So.
Yeah. And the third one that we've used a lot is Grab. And so we can use Grab to order food, have it delivered. I think I've shown you all that, like we can order dinner for the three of us, me, Heidi, or me, Meghan, and Christy, not Heidi. It's usually after they go to bed or around that time. And I mean, to have the local food delivered, not from like the touristy areas, and it's like less than $7 delivered for 3 meals. So we also use the same app for getting a ride. So it's almost like an Uber and Uber Eats, but better. And then also you can have stuff delivered using the Grab app. Like say we wanted to stay here longer, right? And we had to have papers delivered to an office somewhere. You can use Grab to do that. And then also, what else? We can rent a Grab for like anywhere from like 2 to 12 hours. And we thought about doing that one day when the power was going to go out. It was going to be out for like 8 or 9 hours. And in like the whole city, and like, oh, we can rent a Grab and it'll be like this much, but we didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been like horrible. I think it would have been less than $100. It's gonna be like $75 or something to rent the vehicle and a driver for the whole day, but we wouldn't have known where to have gone. And
Right.
it would have been like a self-guided tour, and we didn't know. So, but you know, if we wanted to explore somewhere, we could always rent one for 2, 4, 6 hours, and then it'll pick us up and drop us off and go park and everything. So but yeah, Grab is awesome. We love it. But yeah.
Yeah, and WhatsApp. I mean, that's how we communicated.
Oh yeah.
With,
WhatsApp. Yeah.
Like our landlords.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, our host, the Airbnb host, we use WhatsApp to communicate with them. With the hotel that we went stayed at, they use Line. And so Line's another one that I had to download and use
But I
and
think
whatnot.
that's the only ones that I've used.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the main ones.
But yeah, so that's some of the stuff that we've learned in our growing pains so far, and we can tell you that an Airbnb is much better than staying in a hotel,
Yes.
because one of the kids is, at least one is going to be, like Ryan and Heidi both slept in the room with us in Jakarta. We lucked out. Christy graciously took both kids and had them whenever we stayed at the resort we just got back from. Gave us a little bit of a break, and we slept pretty good. I did.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Airbnb had them having their own room, and they even share a room now. It hasn't been bad.
Yeah, they're good at sharing.
Yeah.
It's just
So-
more room. We have a little yard. We have a front porch. It's just easier to walk right outside versus the hotel. You have the elevators and just more obstacles to get outside.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Yep. So those are our kind of takeaways, right? So far in the first week or so. We hope y'all enjoyed that. Make sure you go and like and subscribe the video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, because it really helps out and lets YouTube know that we're doing a good job. And yeah, just keep following along and kind of learn from our adventures. If you're thinking about doing this, if you have any questions, just drop them below. Until next time, we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.